SFJ 4x4 Studios presents
in my oversized four-wheel drive Jeep.
a Jeep podcast starring industry experts.
Pure monosity.
What? Say that again.
With mad scientist Scott Brown,
Use my drill press as a sort of lathe.
our host Neil Simpson,
If one light goes out, they all go out.
filled with shenanigans.
We are really professional with Jeeps.
This is I Speak Jeep.
Good morning, darling.
Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever, however you are joining us. This is the I Speak Jeep podcast, the fastest growing Jeep off-road and automotive podcast in the industry. My name is Neil with SFJ4x4.com.
I'm Jeff Shermani. Are you sure?
The
No, obviously I'm
Italian
not sure. I
stallion.
definitely hit all the wrong buttons this morning, and as my wife just chimed in,
You were a hot mess.
not enough coffee, and yes, we heard the music. So
You
yay
were
for
a
the
hot
music.
mess
Yay.
express. Way.
Yes, more coffee.
I short of the Davy the Savage shotgun of
Water.
Monster. Yes, you're nice and healthy this morning. I'm trying to hammer down Monster. Just to get
over on
awake.
this couch. We do what we're supposed to do. I don't know about that couch over there.
This is the inappropriate. Grandma's couch over here is
Yeah.
seating inappropriate health choices at the moment.
Coffee's good for you in
I
small
like
doses.
to think of this.
Small-
Coffee's great. Yeah, in small doses. I like
This
to.
isn't small?
That's not a small coffee. I like to pretend that my Monsters are health like energy drinks. There's zero sugar.
Wait, does that one got juice in it?
I don't. Does it have
1%.
juice?
See, I like the kickstarts. They come with 5% juice.
Oh, that makes you feel good about.
It makes me feel good about them.
what you're doing. With,
Yeah.
when you shotgun that.
Shaking my
Who are
head.
you? Yeah, shaking your head over there.
I am old and grumpy and mad scientist Scott Brown.
Sounds like you're getting over a little bit of cold.
I
over there.
am.
Yeah.
Yep. I try not to get sick often. Been doing the vitamins and everything, but this one smacked me upside the head after getting my flu shot, of course. So yeah.
Well, and I was going to
Fast
say
go.
I've known quite a few people who have had this cold that just set in, the
Yeah.
last 3 to 6 weeks. So, so ultimately, it's kind of going around.
Yes.
'Tis the season.
Joe, we said hello to your Jeep this morning and gave it a high five on the way in the door. It is a lot closer to the door and getting ready to come in.
I did. I gave it a pep talk at the end of the week last week, Joe. So, and this is a good reminder for our listeners, all three of you who are, downloading on a regular basis. Thank you for that, listening in your ear holes while you're driving truck across the country or working on an assembly line somewhere in the office.
Running a courtroom, whatever.
Whatever. Easy peasy. But ultimately, you too can join us live 10:19 a.m. most Mondays on the Book of Faces. You can jump on there. You can get in the comment section, hang out, talk to other cool Jeep owners, and and be part of this conversation. I know that not everybody is able to do that on Mondays. It's kind of a unique experience. But just as a quick follow-up, most of you get the audio version by a Wednesday. So oftentimes the live goes up for 24 to 48 hours, sometimes a little longer.
Sometimes we just forget to take it down and it stays there.
Facebook takes it down after 30 days, I believe.
Yeah.
We used to take it down about 24, 48 hours.
I'd say we still try to, but
It's
I don't
very
know that we
Jeepy here.
prioritize that.
It's very Jeepy. Sometimes it falls by the wayside to pull it down. But our audio listeners get it by about Wednesday, and then our YouTube viewers get it on Friday. So understand that's kind of factually how that lays out. Your participation in it is at your level, and we thank you for that. Whatever medium you are using to engage with us, we appreciate that. We read the comments, we see the interactions, we see the views. We get it. We thank you for that. But the fun is typically on Mondays at 10:19, and we encourage you to once in a while jump on and make that a priority. Schedule a meeting, get your bathroom break, take an early lunch, whatever it needs to be.
Yep.
So today we are going to be continuing our 12 Days of Jeepmas. We are actually only 2 episodes left in 2023. So then
Crazy.
we're going to be on a 2-week hiatus. We are on episode what, Jeffrey?
100.
100. That's a pretty illustrious accomplishment for, ultimately an independent automotive garage that has then spurred into a media business.
And we
Right.
have to give the shout out to our listeners because we would not have made it 100 episodes if it wasn't for our listeners, our live folks that are jumping in the comments, and even all the customers at the shows that are approaching us and telling us how much they love the show and listen to it.
Yes, and of course a special thank you goes out to our Patreons who are specifically, supporting the show through their monthly subscription.
Yep.
Obviously, the merchandise sales, the sticker sales, and just the crisp high fives that we get at all the events that we go to that are like, hey, I listened to this, I heard that, I saw this is going on. How's your project? How's that? I saw my Jeep, or I heard you talk about it. How cool is that, right? So thank you to all of you who have made this such an impactful aspect of Simpson Family Jeeps, right? Mm-hmm. With that said, as we continue that theme through today's episode, and oftentimes I kind of think of like the episodes leading up to Christmas as kind of the last couple of years, kind of like the ghosts of Christmas. We've done the Jeeps of Christmas past, Jeeps of Christmas present, so on and so forth. That
right now we're in the present if we were following that mantra. Yeah,
the same association goes for today's talking point of protecting our investment. And when I say that as kind of a bigger topic, this is actually intentionally meant to be a little more of a solemn conversation, little less, jumping around or hokey or whatever. But this idea that we're actually, wanting to talk about the best use of your time and energy.
And if you want to hear more about that besides this episode, on Friday, our American Hustle episode will release, and that was the topic that we discussed on that recording.
Yeah, absolutely. And that obviously is pertaining directly to social improvement, entrepreneurship. That's what the American Hustle podcast is geared towards. Basically, what I call the SFJ 4x4 difference. What makes us uniquely us? That's the talking points that Jeffrey and I unpack in the podcast, The American Hustle. So if that's something you're interested in, you're a startup shop or business or manufacturer or drafting or whatever it might be, you just want to do something else in life or do it better, the American Hustle is for you in that regard.
And for those that were waiting to binge listen to that, we have 31 episodes of that out now, so
yeah,
start binging.
Yeah, get on it. This is great. The weather gets a little colder. You can hang out and do some house chores or some projects and listen while you work. So this is kind of an extension. This is specifically to talk about our time and energy as Jeep owners, as automotive enthusiasts, and how we prioritize and kind of pay homage to the decisions we've made in the past and as we move forward, the decisions of the present. Mm-hmm. With that said, what decisions have we made? What projects have we accomplished? How is life for the folks here in the studio?
I'm going to let Scott go first today because I know I had a busy weekend. I'm sure he did.
So I have
too.
a fun one. I unmodified my Jeep some.
Oh,
again?
You already know about it, so
Oh, okay. I was gonna say you've done nothing but unmodify it since you bought it.
So when I bought it, it had some really cool LED headlights. It had a grill insert, and it has some really nice 35s and wheels, all high quality parts, which was a little bit of a shocker.
Right, it's unusual.
It's unusual, and no light bars were present. So anyway, one of the things I really wanted my Gladiator for was to tow with it, and I remember I have an engineer-ish mind, so I kind of remember some of the talking points about how they changed the JL mold for the JT, and one of the things they talked about were the mesh in the grill was physically larger to not impede airflow into the radiator for that towing capacity. And I looked at this very well-made, high quality, literally has a lifetime warranty grill insert with these tiny little holes that allow air to get to the radiator, and went,
Oh my gosh.
What's really funny about that is I did the exact opposite. I'm like, who needs that airflow? Rip that out, put an insert in.
You immediately put
and then tow
insert in there.
And then tow it all the way across the country with million-ton
heat.
camper in the heat.
Yes, and here I am in December going, I don't like that. So I ordered all those pieces from Mopar and took out the insert and
You
put the mesh
actually
back
took your Jeep back to stock. You
in the
ordered
grill.
OE style.
Well,
gra-
He
grill
tried to
insert.
use mine first. It
I
didn't
tried to
fit.
be cheap and use Jeff's.
We learned a lesson.
But I learned, I kind of thought this, but Rubicons and higher trim levels have a multi-part grill. If around your headlights and around your slots are a different color, then you have the premium grill. If you are like Jeffrey and it's all one color, then you have the sport grill, I think is what they call it. And his openings are actually larger than mine. So the fill on his is big and mine is small.
Huh.
So that is your useless JT knowledge for
That
today.
is the most useless piece of knowledge, Jeep
Yes.
trivia
Yes.
in the JLJT world.
Yes. And then just me being me,
Huh.
I'm still in the hunt. There's these little plastic clips that hold the fill in a couple spots, and those of course got thrown away when the guy was like, I don't need any of this stuff, and put the insert in, and mine isn't quite OE until I get those. So if you know where those are, let me know. I'm not
boy.
gonna keep taking my
Wow.
grill back off
We're going to go
again.
back to
Wow,
comments
I
for a
just
second.
fell asleep.
Right?
Yeah.
I fell asleep
It was
as
an
far as the
engineering
conversation. Oh my God.
I'm not right there.
Understatement.
We're going right back to comments. So Brad said, "Congrats on 100 episodes. Job well done. Thank you."
Thank you.
Daddy Jeep is saying good morning. So good morning.
Good morning.
Darla, yay for 100, and Diana Householder's in there giving us a peace sign. So
Excellent. Good morning to
Jeep
everybody.
Wave.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Little take on the Jeep Wave. Wow, I'm happy that you're happy. Maybe I should say
I
that.
really feel good about it. And if you really want a $150 new lifetime warranty made in the USA grill insert,
It's an American flag too,
hit
isn't
me
it?
it's a
up.
blacked out American flag. I
yeah.
believe.
It's a super cool looking thing.
for 50 bones, it's yours. Just help me pay for my problems. And then
What a weird, that is just the weirdest modification.
that's fine.
Is that the weirdest folks?
Yes.
Folks at home, let me know. Is that the weirdest thing? What have you done that you think is
it's a
more
Scottism.
peculiar? Holy cow! This is the attention to detail you want working on your vehicle. But wow.
Yes, I did go out and look at my Jeep. That's cool. I like that. So if you like a mod,
I mean, he
More power to
literally,
you.
people out there love these inserts, these
Yeah.
grill inserts.
100%.
why hasn't nobody bought it? That's the part I don't understand. But anyway,
Yeah,
it's been for sale for a week. On to the 36, I am waiting on some cool custom parts. I'm really excited. I don't know if they'll be here before Christmas, but you guys will be first to know about it when they arrive. I am literally helping a small mom and pop shop like us, but in early Fords, prototype some parts for flatheads. So I'm really excited by that.
excellent.
Very cool.
He's a very detail oriented. Can gladly call him a friend now, and literally sent him off some parts, and he's working on making his own, made in the USA by a small shop. So
Excellent.
when
Very
they're in, we'll have some pictures and some updates on that.
Yeah, that's super cool.
That's exciting.
You had a busy weekend, sir?
Yeah. It feels like it's been like 3 weeks since our last podcast. So I took Friday off of the shop, obviously, for those that know. But Xander, my 10-year-old, had his follow-up eye appointment. It's been 3 months since his last one.
Mm-hmm. How's he doing?
The specialist appointment was basic. Well, I'm just going to give you the fun part of the story. We walk in. It's been 3 months since we've been to see this doctor, and he is the surgeon that operated on Xander when the injury happened.
Okay.
So he's the first surgeon that we ever dealt with this whole situation. We walk in the room, and Kristen must have backflashed back to the day that it happened, and we met him because she was like a deer in headlights, just 3 steps into the office and just stopped. Face was gone, just full panic mode, and just frozen. Both me and the doctor look at her. Are you okay? What? Oh, yeah, I'm fine. Like,
oh boy.
Just
Okay.
totally froze up. So we joked about that quite a bit on the way back home. And Xander, meanwhile, is just like, I'm good. Yep, that's cool.
Yeah.
So that
The resilient little guy.
the appointment did tell us that what we had thought is that his eye is definitively shrinking. The eye socket is not growing properly because of that, and it doesn't have the size of the eyeball to continue to essentially
Push
push the eye socket out like it's supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
So he is being referred to plastic specialist. Unfortunately, Rainbow Pediatrics, who we've been going through, does not have that anymore. Their specialists left their practice, so we got referred over to Cleveland Clinic and started that process already.
The Cole Eye Institute.
Um,
Is it ophthalmology at the Cleveland Clinic?
yes,
Okay. It's
Yeah.
the Cole Eye Institute.
more than I know.
World renowned.
I know Dr. Catherine Wong is who we're going to be dealing with,
Sure.
and she is going to be reviewing his case files and calling us after the holidays.
Okay.
So that's where we're at on that. And as far as what that entails, our current doctor at Rainbows has been telling us that he doesn't know what's next. He knows that he needs intervention from plastics, but it doesn't know if it's going to be, hey, we just got to put this plastic piece in front of your eye. Hey, we got to replace the whole eye. He doesn't. That's up to
Sure.
them.
Sure.
And the follow-up question that Kristen had asked him afterwards was, do we have to go back to you as a regular eye doctor? He said, nope, this is your last appointment with me.
Mm-hmm.
So a little relief that we're done going to that office. Wonderful doctor. I'd recommend him to anyone. Is
Sure.
Dr. Cohen. Amazing. Takes the time to actually answer your questions. But we no longer have to go there. So
Sure.
that's one less thing we have to do.
Yep.
Aside from that, the nonprofit organization, Heberly's Heartstrings, we got federally recognized as a 501c3 organization.
Congratulations.
So that was exciting. And then you'll be proud of this, but I actually did a little bit of weekend maintenance on the John Deere, and it is stored away in the shed for winter, which means it will not run
That's
next
the most
year.
important part, right?
It means it won't run next year because I took care of it.
That's
that
right.
means I
Gave it
need
too
to
much
take the
love.
battery out of mine now because now he's equal to me.
Yeah.
So I got to show mine like a little more love.
Yeah, something. And then Sunday I met with the board for the Heberly Heartstrings, and we did another productive meeting on that. So
Excellent.
just moving things along, and really excited to see where that's going to go. The Heberly Heartstrings, the 501c3, now that that's done, we're going to go open a bank account for that organization on Wednesday and deposit our first $2,500 worth of donations. So
That's awesome.
Congratulations. Excellent. It's always good to see this positive momentum, of people involved in the business. And that's as a measure of a successful business, in my opinion, is one that the individuals not only is the flagship business moving forward, but then the individuals that that comprise it, they themselves are successful as well in their own pursuits, and I think that's the coolest thing. For myself, busy weekend as far as some social and personal things. That's just the true Simpson way, if you will. But as the projects that pertain to this particular podcast, people that follow along. The house project continues to move along. I'm doing siding currently, trying to make it look like a house before winter. Of course, one might argue that winter is already here. That's probably true.
you got till December 21st.
I'm thinking I got December 21st, right?
Yeah. So with the siding question, how far up did you finish one side yet? Or did you, because the ladder didn't reach, move on to the other side?
No. So I am on the south end, which is the highest end, which is a 15-foot gable.
Yeah.
I did up to the window, and the window is a 6/12 pitch on a 12-foot spread. So the window itself sits in that gable end. I'm up to the bottom of the window. I'm cut out around the bottom of the window. And then I spend a ton of time in the peak itself, making this really incredibly custom fit
Over
little
engineered.
triangle. Yeah, little
Lots of thought.
triangle. And like tiny little cuts, and try and shove it, bend it into place and shove it in there, and then tiny little more cut and shove it in
He
there.
made fun of me on my overthinking and over engineering.
Yeah. So
What's going to be
it's-
funny is when he gets to that triangle, if the siding doesn't line up.
Why'd you gotta
Oh.
do that, Jeffrey?
I don't care at this point. No,
That's a spring
no,
problem.
That's I was gonna say that's not a.
And you know what that
it's
happens?
not going to line up. But here's the
And
good
then
news
that's
is,
a 10-year problem.
that's a.
I have
can't
a
do
couple
anything
of those
about
on my
it.
house.
Yeah.
I can't do anything about that because
Choices were made.
Yeah, because choices were made, and the way the window lays out in the gable, there's such a tight little spot. It's literally only a 9-inch piece, and of course,
I think that's
your
why
standard-
older houses they change direction with siding.
The corners of your
The-
window hitting like the fascia.
the corners of the window literally touch the J channel of the fascia.
Oh, it
You know
doesn't
what I mean?
matter then.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
that's
fine.
what I'm
You're
saying.
good.
So it's
That's
going to
actually
blend
best
together.
case scenario.
It is literally best case scenario.
It's easier to trim it in
because
then.
I have a true termination at the corners.
Yeah.
Right. The J channel actually trimmed up the last 1.5 inches where they didn't exactly touch the fascia.
Yeah.
Right. So we're gravy there. But in true Neil fashion, outside of professionalism and just a true get it done, I have the International backed in within 1/2 inch because, of course, I love to park things, precariously close.
Yeah.
Within 1/2 inch of the house, and then I'm working off of a ladder that I set on the flatbed of the truck and work off
If
the
you
house. that
haven't
way.
used your truck as a stand
as
for
an
your ladder,
extension of ladder,
are
right?
you really working on your house?
Agreed? That's
I'm,
what I
I'm
think.
just gonna say that OSHA. This is just we're talking about theoretic things.
Totally. Totally.
Never.
We're
Do you ever
homeowners.
see the?
It's not
Do
business
you ever see the meme that says why guys don't live as long as women, and it's
Nah.
got the ladder over the stairwell
Ah,
with
yeah.
the ropes
I
holding
let
it
my
on?
wife know
Yeah.
what I'm doing, and she can call the ambulance when it happens. It's fine.
just push me out to the corner of the street and
It's fine. You
They're
do have
fine.
a long walk to the corner. Your property, though.
That's true.
it's fine. It's fine. Nothing to see here, folks. No, it's good and it's very rewarding. I'm learning. I'll be perfectly transparent. I'm learning the skill of siding. I'm learning a lot doing the
Yeah.
house. Right,
Yeah.
it's not something I've necessarily been exposed to, and so therefore that journey is valuable to me.
Well, and just when you think you figured it out, you're gonna come to another weird cut, and you're like, now what?
Oh, totally.
Yep.
And that problem solving and whatnot, that's engaging. I do enjoy that. It's part of the project aspect that is good.
Because you don't know what you don't know till you know it.
Wow.
There it is
There
again.
it is. Whoop,
get that
there it
tie in
is.
when I
Every
can.
time you do. And I did actually, I had gone around to the other side the other day, and I did my starter strip and got my first run laid and blah, blah, blah. But I desperately want to finish one wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I'm
Absolutely.
just taking the time and energy. I'm doing the investment to force that into completion.
But when you
right?
get to that mental block where you're like, well, this is just really complicated, just go over and do the easy siding.
Well, and that's exactly.
and you're still accomplishing something. You feel good about it, and it's like brain dead work because
Yeah.
it's just straight.
Yeah, and if a number of people have talked about siding being kind of rewarding. It's very much like mowing your lawn or maybe plowing. It's an immediate gratification. It automatically makes this space look different and more organized.
And
100%.
especially when you have those long straight runs where you're just slapping pieces up and going, it goes so fast, and you get done and you step back and you look like, wow, I've only been here a half hour and I've already got 3/4
Yes.
of that wall.
Yeah.
Yes,
Makes up for that 3 hours, and you make an inch.
Correct.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, and you know that with metalworking,
Oh.
right?
all too well.
So, otherwise, that was just trying to make the best of the temperate, winter weather that we are having, in and among my daughter's winter dance review. So, pretty impactful local arts program. What a fantastic experience that was all weekend. So, many different aspects of our life, which brings us into our topic.
That reminds me of one other thing that I did this weekend.
Huh.
I got a dryer and had to get that into the house and installed. And for 3 years or 4 years of living in this house, my dryer has wobbled on the cement floor.
Oh,
So I built a platform out of
Oh.
scrap wood in the garage.
of course.
So-
Congratulations.
He
Yeah.
used that wood that you saved for 3 years.
Everybody has that pile in the
I
corner of their
I
garage.
even have a pile.
I
of
can
wood in
actually
my
walk
garage.
a little bit on my garage again because I used so
I bet
much of
that
that.
feels so
Plus getting all the kids' bikes put away for the winter, just into the shed. So that was out of the
Oh.
garage.
Yeah, it
So-
just feels good to get that level of organization.
Well, it brings into the conversation what you're talking about. And
Yes. So today's today's topic that is so incredibly valuable to talk about in this time of year, this season of reflection and thankfulness, is protecting your investment. And while we talk about this, I think we talk about these concepts in very superficial conversations, typically speaking, right? And of course, that's what we talked about in the American Hustle, that these are concepts that are thrown out oftentimes going, oh, time is a commodity. You can't buy your time back. Things in that regard. And we'll oftentimes scratch the surface as individuals about these concepts, but we don't actually oftentimes take the time sufficiently to dive deep into them. Additionally, when we talk about protecting your investment, unfortunately, by today's standards, especially when it comes to automotive speak, I think you immediately get the follow-up conversation about a warranty. It's like, well, protect your investment and put this special coating on it. That by this extra warranty that people are trying to sell you more, right? You get exposed to the conversation, and they're trying to sell you more. They're trying to take more of that time from you, in my opinion.
Perceive that you're isolated from this loss of time or effort or money or something.
Right. And I guess my spin on it that I want to unpack with our listeners, with our viewers at home, is the idea that Jeep culture is so unique. It's similar to the bike culture.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit of the Corvette culture, but realistically, with the Jeep and by extension the off-road community is an entity unto its own, right?
Yes.
And
it's very unique, and even I know many people that have been into the Harley clubs and all of that, and then they went and bought a Jeep and they realize it's a whole nother ball game. It's a whole nother level that you don't get even with the Harleys.
Agreed, right? And I would make that argument as well as an individual who's, lived the Jeep life for, the majority of my life at this point, and, has professionally endeavored into the community. And the idea is that when we protecting our investment is more than just buying good quality parts or buying the warranty or buying the special coating or whatever.
I would argue that plays into it because it saves
it's all part
in
of
the
it.
Future.
I'm with you, and I think that's what we're going to talk about. But that the root cause of it, or the root of this conversation, is the idea that we spend so much time thinking about our Jeeps, looking at pictures online,
like grill inserts,
looking at pictures
Not
online.
sure how I feel about that.
I'm
comment.
not sure either.
That's what I do.
Going to club or social events, right?
Yes.
Going to charitable activities and
Just
with our
being
Jeep
part
or
of
through
that
our Jeep
community.
community, right?
Yeah.
That is an investment, right? That is our prioritization. We are prioritizing that as individuals to live the Jeep life. And how do we protect that prioritization?
Well,
that's the conversation I want to have today.
And part of that is if you really want to be fully into the Jeep life, there's events every weekend that you could go to.
Multiple.
Sometimes you could go to 5 different events in a 2-day weekend.
Yes.
So prioritizing which events actually matter to you as an individual so that you can still say no to the other ones.
And I'm going to just share openly in a sense of vulnerability for our listeners, going into this weekend, that I had hopes, dreams, and aspirations in true Neil fashion. I had told Davey, our cameraman, the Savage, that I wanted to film a video for YouTube. Southington, I believe, had a run Saturday morning. There was a local shop called All Extremes had an event, Ace's Angels, that was a charitable toy run.
Yep.
And for Ace's Angels, it was a cool poker run that they were putting on that we were invited to. Thank you to Brian for sharing that with us. And I thought, Man, that would be really cool.
Yep.
I know that Total Off-Road out of Cleveland, another off-road shop, formerly the Four Wheel Parts, was doing a Toys for Tots, and then Jeep convoy over to UH Rainbow to deliver those toys.
Yep.
And Steve Stiller Motorsports in Western Pennsylvania on Sunday was doing a ride at the property, which BFR, which is now considered the Ben Franklin Range, which used to be formerly known as Scrubgrass. We wheeled there years ago.
Yep.
They were doing for a $25 or more Toys for Tot donation, free ride on Sunday, which a big group of our customers, listeners, and friends from the Pittsburgh area were going off to. All of those things.
And there was a Stuff the Bus at our local Walmart.
There was a Stuff the Bus.
Yeah, where they're competing back and forth
for a couple schools or something, right?
Yes, Ashtabula and another school.
And all of this is going on, and it was all with a root cause
that was very good.
A very good, and
it
ultimately
was all on Saturday.
Well, and the ride at BFR was Sunday.
Yeah,
and I thought going into the weekend when I kind of conceptualize all this, 2 weeks out, a week out, whatever, I thought to myself, well, if I run here and then I go there and then I can go here, I can go to all of these things, and
right?
I want to go to all of these things. I want the brand represented there. I want to personally be contributing because this is the life, the Jeep life that I live for.
Yes.
This is the
great cause.
These are the right cause with the right people in the activities. There's a little bit of off-roading opportunity. There's a little bit of road warrior where we're going to be, kind of your urban wheeling from, point A to point B, doing these different kind of fun social activities.
Using your Jeep some.
Yeah. And ultimately I was unable to do any of it.
I was going to say, out of all those events,
I was
zero.
unable to do zero. And that was because I gave my priority to my family, to my daughter's performance, to my wife's, health and well-being, to our established pursuit and dream of working on this house, to feel like we're accomplishing something. To learning siding, to going to church for my daughter's bell choir performance, to then taking my son to another, our extended family's birthday party. That's what I was able to give my time to.
Yep.
And so it's very hard to talk about when we're talking about protecting our investment. My investment is our time and energy, right? Yeah. And I desperately wanted to participate. Now, I felt good that I was able to do the Toys for Tots, the Goodyear blimp ride previously, and I shared that moment with a number of other Jeepers, and I was able to go on with my son and do kind of a cool antique picking experience in the evening and blah, 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 just the week prior. But I wanted more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This past weekend was so full, you could have literally, turned the Jeep on Saturday morning.
And not shut it off.
And not shut it off until, Monday morning. And that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But the reality is, I factually couldn't do that.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So how do we as Jeep owners, we spend so much time daydreaming and living within that Jeep life culture. How do we protect the investment of those hopes, dreams, and aspirations that are accomplished through the Jeep life? How do we protect that?
So my wife said it best over the weekend when she was asking how your Jeepster went.
Okay.
And she said that the way she was really excited for you because she wanted to live vicariously through you and not use her own time and energy in that.
So for those listening at home,
yeah,
we do. And I'll kind of share a little bit of my own experience here in a second, as far as how I live vicariously through, through a lot of the people, our viewers and whatnot. And I think, and it's funny because a lot of people are just wholly unaware of my level of observation. But
he's a stalker.
Totally. But I'll get to that in just 1 second.
He's a Facebook creep.
So, yeah, you're absolutely right, buddy. And all of our listeners right now, you just don't understand. But the Jeepster, just to circle back, about 2 weeks ago, I was looking up a top, a hard top for a customer. I was doing a quick market comparative analysis, and I just literally happened upon a really sweet looking 1951 Jeepster. For those of you who are unaware, that's a 2-wheel drive. It's more car than it is Jeep, but it's got this just incredible iconic styling. It's not exactly sporty just based on how the suspension and the technology, but it's more sporty than say
it's a sporty Jeep.
It's a sporty
for the 50s.
For the 50s,
Yeah.
right? And so it's something that my mom specifically has really wanted, and my dad would love to provide that opportunity for both her and him. If you're unaware, both my parents have some limited mobility, but they both are automotively inclined enough. My mom's got a little Mini Cooper supercharged Little John, and my dad's obviously got the Jeeps and whatnot, and they would like to kind of mix those two, if you will,
with a 4-cylinder flathead.
Well, and so
Jeepster.
what we found was a 6-cylinder.
Yes, we were pumped about that.
We were pumped, and it looked amazing in the pictures.
And Scott got to do research about Jeepsters.
We-
Now I had a reason.
We all got really excited. We got
Yeah.
we got really excited internally. My dad said, "Hey, you know what? This is something I want to pursue. I want you to vet it, and then if it's a good deal, if it's the right one for us, let's go grab it."
And it was red and black.
And it was red and black.
Of course.
It was gorgeous.
It made all the eyes at us.
Without
the
question,
pictures.
and it looked like
screaming, "Pick me, pick me!"
And it had just had a really cool history. It was supposedly a barn find of a collector, who had all these pretty nice, above average vehicles that he then just aged out of, parked them in a barn, and walked away.
Yep.
Great storyline, and so we started to put things in motion. We were going to bring it to our viewers and listeners, the story, right? The curated content to say, we're going to go up there. Scott and I were going to go, on a Monday or something and go and see if we can make this thing run. And I was going to try to drive it back and just all this cool stuff. I talked to the current owner, who was more or less a picker, who had acquired this
and he's
car.
more of an old car guy. And for some reason, old car guys and Jeeps, their tools, they're not cool to them.
Right.
So he didn't want to put a lot of investment into this vehicle, which we're kind of like, yeah, we get that because you're a classic car guy.
You're a classic car guy. You're not a Jeep guy.
You're not a Jeep guy.
Well, I went and looked at it. His space is absolutely spectacular. It's just an incredibly phenomenal, kind of like an antique store and arguably kind of a man cave. All this memorabilia and just really, really cool stuff he had. And I was like, man, this is going to be awesome. This is going to just make for a really great story. I started looking over the Jeep, and it was absolutely Swiss cheese. It was just the reality of the situation.
It's amazing how it can hide those things in pictures, and where things can you think that's the one for me. You get a little bit investment. You're socially into it now,
100%.
and you make a choice, and then you start peeling back those layers of the onion, which I know a lot about.
Right.
And then you realize this is a lot bigger project than I thought it was.
What I think was most valuable to our current conversation about this is that the plan was that you guys were going to go out together with Davey
Yep.
and do a filming of it, check it out, see if you could make it run and drive it back.
Yep.
But because you were smart with your time and you went and vetted it ahead of time,
And
we
got
saved.
to do a cool little thing with the blimps
Correct.
situation that was
Sure.
near it.
Yep.
Correct. Because of all of that, you were able to maximize and save our time here at the shop and utilize more appropriate priorities.
And we were, because of being into the situation a lot, we were
Yeah.
able to be intelligent about it and go, hey, we're going to look in the floorboards. We're going to roll underneath, look at the rocker panels. We're not going to just take, the person was not trying to mislead us. He had it a very short amount of time. He had not crawled all over it because it's just a Jeep. It's not that cool.
Yep.
And
To him. Yep.
we were
And-
willing to crawl on the floor, roll underneath, look at things, know where the problem areas are because we are in the Jeeps, And quickly we were able to learn, hey, if you were looking for a restoration project to the level I've done to the 36, this is a great example.
It's a great start.
Complete. It's not that expensive. It's got a cold motor option, all that kind of stuff. All the cards are there. That's just not what we're looking for.
Right.
And walking away, and I mean, it's one of the challenges we talk a lot about.
And knowing when to walk away.
Exactly. And some of these nostalgia builds, or, hey, I'm already in too deep, I just have to, build my way out of it.
Yep.
But, for me, 20 years ago, I probably would have bought that thing.
Oh,
right?
Heck yeah.
Without question. I mean,
drove it back.
10 years. And we would have driven it back and would have thought it was awesome.
Yep.
And for a lot of our viewers and listeners out there, I encourage you to do that if you have no other irons in the fire.
Yep.
Right.
Have at it. Buy that project. Make those memories. Do that crazy thing.
Do it for the right reasons.
Use your time wisely and don't deprioritize other things that really should be prioritized.
That's protecting your investment, right? And so this conversation with that particular Jeep was very hard because my dad was fronting the money for him and his mom. They had the money. They were ready to go. We had it cashed out.
Your inner child was dreaming and drooling over it.
Oh, without question. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And so walking away was the hardest thing. But by walking away, I protected the investment that I've already made personally and professionally here. Scott's investment to our customers that he's working on and building Jeeps for. Davey's investment of curated content.
Yeah.
Yours of just having to run the shop, in and by yourself. And is it possible? Sure. But is that the priority we need in that moment? It's a trickle, experience
Yes.
when we deviate from our current investment. So,
And that is so true when you're looking at your priorities of time and investment on projects. Your time investment is not just your time. It's affecting other people's around you depending on
Yes.
what your other
It's
priorities
the
are.
butterfly effect.
Correct.
and so I think that gets into a good circle back to the fact that I have recognized many years ago, and the challenge is SFJ has existed. Now it is becoming institutionalized. People are entering the market, and we just simply exist at the level that they're encountering us. They don't remember when it was just you were just showing up at some schmo's house, and I was walking over to a tent where I had, you had just disassembled a vehicle in
Yep.
another state, and I had brought it home in totes, and I was, half cut things are in the grass and in my driveway. They're not having that experience,
Yes.
right? They're encountering us through the social media aspect. They're encountering us through the website, through our brick and mortar, at a show with these beautiful $100,000 plus Jeeps that are, built and on display. They don't understand the roots, right? And so we used to wheel frequently. We used to be able to go to some of these charitable or social events with more frequency.
Mm-hmm.
And the challenge is just simply not able to. Of 5 or 6 Jeep specific events happening within an hour or two of here, I was able to do none, right?
And the sad part is when we were younger, those things weren't going on, and we dreamt about if something in Ashtabula County would happen,
Yes.
because we had to drive an hour to an hour 45 to do anything we wanted to do involving a Jeep.
Correct.
And
Careful what you wish for.
Well, that's true. And we're very blessed to have the community that is built up around us that we can partake in when we can. But it's also good to know something me and my wife had just talked about is when it's okay to say no, and know when you are mentally, physically, or time-wise tapped.
Yeah.
To the point, like, literally my kids went off to grandma's house, and normally we'd be like, oh, we could go on a date. We could go to Erie. We could go to Menor. We could go this. We took a nap.
Right.
I think we're officially old now. That's fine.
Right.
You've
we're
been
like-
old man Brown for a while.
we're
Come
like-
on.
She's like, I'm tired. And I'm like, I'm tired too. And there's all this stuff we need to do. We haven't even got our Christmas tree up, which is very unlike us. My
Sure.
wife loves this season. And I'm like, I don't have the energy to put a Christmas tree up or drag it out of the attic.
Sure.
And she's like, me neither. It's like, maybe we will after a nap. And if we don't, that's the way it is.
This moment shall pass,
This
and
moment
it'll
shall
be okay.
pass. and that's also, in my opinion, part of that time, and that of knowing when to stop pushing and just take some time and work on yourself so that you can then go into your project.
Know when to say no.
Right.
Know when to say no.
And that was actually a concept we talked about in the American Hustle podcast this morning, but an appropriate segue into what I have truly, authentically derived life-giving energy from is watching our Jeep community become so successful around me, around us, around this area, around this brand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when we have listeners and followers and customers who become friends, who go on and are able to do these events, who are able to participate positively, who go on and organize their own local show,
Yep.
or if you are a startup shop or even an established shop that is growing your base and doing good works within the community. That's exciting to see. That voyeuristic experience that social media gives us, and that's what Jeffrey was joking that I'm a stalker. I don't think that people recognize how observant I really am, because quite frankly, I don't have the ability to go do those things that I had aspired to based on what I am investing in. I'm investing in my kids. I'm investing in my house. I'm investing in the future of this brand. I'm investing in the Jeep community where I can, but I can't do it all, right?
Well, especially when it comes full circle. Case in point, my children's school just had not a stuff the bus, but they were giving back. You bring in donations and give to veterans, that kind of stuff. And we had some paperwork on that, and I'm reading through it. And it's literally the local Jeep club that is putting this on.
That's cool.
And they're doing competition from the grade levels, so K through 5, I think it is. Should know that. But anyway.
That's all right.
They're going to sponsor a pizza party for that whole grade level, whoever wins. So it's, K through versus first versus second kind of thing. Whoever brings the most donations in as a grade level will get a grade level pizza party.
That's awesome.
And it's literally one of our local Jeep group clubs that is putting that on. And I was like, huh.
Right. It makes you proud of being part of the Jeep life. And it's like, I don't actually have to fully do this. Now, the issue as humans is that sometimes people looking in at that scenario goes, well, why aren't you participating in that? Right. And I'd like to
donate some food.
No doubt. No doubt. But I'd like to kind of stand on my soapbox and say, to take the higher ground and say, like, we can't do everything, but I can appreciate that you're willing to do this and this group is willing to do this. And when when Joe and Linda, when Joe and Linda jump in their Jeep and they drive back and forth across the country, I am about as attentive to their drive as they are. Outside of the ability to actually be in the vehicle with them, which don't tempt me, Joe and Linda, I'll jump right in that back seat. The pictures, being aware of the updates, the process, that is fulfilling to the aspect of the community that we serve. You know what I mean?
100%.
And it's protecting our investment by saying, hey, my investment is to this immediate little trajectory, this goal here that I've established. But that doesn't mean that I can't appreciate that the local Jeep Club is doing a food drive, that that local shops are doing charitable organizing and toy drives and visiting the hospitals and doing all that kind of stuff.
And I think that's really critical that you have that appreciation, because sometimes you get so wrapped up in your own priorities and your own time sets that you lose the appreciation of what's happening around you.
Right.
Yeah.
And maintaining that appreciation, being able to enjoy and celebrate the successes of those groups and those events will help you in your own time, because when you need help, they're there to
100%.
support you.
Right.
Or you're in that situation where you're like, well, I can't do it to the level I want to, so I'm not going to try at all. Well, if they're willing, someone's got better abilities, time, effort, whatever it is, to pick up that ball and carry it through, you can then go, hey, I see you, and now I will support you.
Now my role is to support you in that
carrying
process.
that ball.
Correct.
I'm sad I can't carry the ball myself.
Exactly.
But I will support you in this endeavor however I can.
And that is
Yes.
exactly the ghost of Christmas present, if you will, right? In this conversation of protecting your investment of time, energy, and resource that we daydream and we give to our Jeep life. Right now, I think we would be remiss if we didn't talk about some of the nuts and bolts of protecting your investment.
Yep.
Meaning, did I make good choices as a Jeep owner
Yep.
with the parts that I've purchased, the vehicle that I started with, and the maintenance that I have given to it, or not, right?
And sometimes that is just admitting, hey, I made some mistakes, and now I'm going to try to do better, and just accepting that that's water under the bridge. Time has passed.
Don't dwell on it because
Don't
now you're
dwell on
wasting
it
more
because
time.
you're wasting more time, and just, okay, now I know better. Now I know from not knowing.
Yep.
And I can now from this point forward move better, make better choices, and protect that investment.
And it doesn't matter how good of a crystal ball you have.
No.
Things are going to come up that you
Always.
didn't expect.
Yep.
As you unpeel the onion, as you said,
Yep.
the layers, there's going to be a layer that you didn't expect.
100%. It's almost
But it's about moving on
it's
past
almost
that.
part of the journey at this point. That's why if you ever get the Scott pep talk in the classic corner, I will just pretty much come out and rip the Band-Aid off and be like, hey, we're going to find some stuff that you're not going to like. We're going to find stuff you do like, and it's going to be way bigger than you expected it to be, both in happiness and in despair.
Yeah.
That's just part of the project.
Yeah.
And just being able to admit that now, it will be a little bit less raw when it happens.
Totally.
But it doesn't matter. And you grow as a person, and you should, into a project or a build. And it doesn't matter if that's putting that grill insert in your Jeep versus a full CJ5 build. You should grow as a person as part of that. You should learn something. You should know more about it than you did before. That is honestly a very inspirational part of this.
Well, I think we put a lot of thought into how we approach these things because we do see it as a whole person experience.
Yep.
Yeah.
As we talk about those tangible items, and I jokingly, somebody I think said, maybe even been Joe, like, what kind of grill insert comes with a lifetime warranty, right? Like,
Yeah.
first of all, what are you warrantying against?
Fade, I
and-
think.
Fade or, yep.
And so that is the conversation of protecting your investment, because some of our grill inserts, if we just kind of focus on that,
Yeah.
are purchased off of Amazon, and you can find good things on Amazon.
Yep.
We use Amazon ourselves, and soon we'll actually have an affiliate link that you can access some of the very products that our guys are using to work on, and to further our professional approach, and we'll share some of those things with you. But we'll also be the first people to say that if you bought a grill insert that's $17.95 shipped to your house, and it shows up and you have to unfold it like origami
Yes.
before installing it in your $60,000 JL or JT,
Yep.
And we've
That's-
done that, folks.
that's just different than a $150 made in the USA
Yep.
lifetime warranted grill insert.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not to say that mom and pop business or whoever's producing that $150 made in the USA faded glory grill insert is living high on the hog somewhere
No.
upstate New York in a mansion on 500 acres.
No.
There's just a difference in quality and follow through.
Yes.
Right?
Because steel made in this country costs more. Processes here cost more. Stocking stuff costs more.
Well, and additionally, it's going to be arguably of better, higher quality. It's going to go faster. It's going to be more complete.
Yes.
You're going to be able to pick up the phone call. So you're protecting your investment. So if you're an individual who's only got 20 minutes to learn something,
Yes.
so you said, hey, you should learn something with every little project. If it's putting the grill in and you pull this out and it's a nice big flat piece because it's shipped, fully assembled,
Literally just drops in the grill.
just drops in the grill, or
Yep.
if there is a little reservation or concern, you can call tech support and they can
Yep.
answer your question within 10 minutes.
I mean, case in point, this I wish I had knew the brand. I just don't remember. I'll blame it on my cold. Anyway, there's a video on how to install it on
So
the
was
website.
it 30 acres?
I don't remember.
I don't think so.
Or was it? Now I can't think of the other one.
It doesn't matter. But
And
they
I
went
should
to-
think of the other one because that's what I have.
They
Oh,
went
boy,
as
Jeff.
far as to put a how-to video on their website, and that is something I know there's somebody out there going, "Oh, it's a grill insert. Why do I need a how-to install video for it?" Because someone does.
Sure.
That's where they're at on their project, and that's okay.
Right.
And maybe you're at building rock sliders from scratch in your garage, and that's okay as well. You should have to meet wherever someone's at, and if that person never installs that grill insert, then they may never build that rock slider.
Absolutely. You got to start somewhere.
Yep.
And the idea is that if you have 20 minutes to start your journey
Yep.
and you feel successful
Under the
installing-
sun.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
I'm sorry. It was bothering me.
If you
We
have
gotta give
20
credit to good
if you-
brands.
There you go. That's right.
That's
That is
true.
right. If you only have 20 minutes and that 20 minutes you feel successful and you installed that insert versus the Amazon $17 insert
Yes.
that's in an origami duck shape before you unfold it and put it into your grill, and it takes you 3 hours or you never get it done.
And then you're
That-
zip tying stuff in place, and you got
Yes.
to modify it to trim it around things.
That's not protecting your investment.
Yes.
Right?
And yes, you spent more money in the initial, but the reward at the end is so much
Is
more.
a return of tenfold. Likewise, if you have something that is depreciating on your Jeep, we have great customers. They were in Friday, and I actually had to answer to a couple people. They asked me, he goes, I thought you were taking Friday off because it was good weather. You were going to go do siding and blah, blah, blah. And I said, well,
He's a workaholic.
I am, but these folks.
We all are.
That's
Yeah.
right. I was going to say it's part of the secret sauce. And I felt that I could do a half day here, split it up between morning and afternoon, and a half day at home, and
I
that
have
was
to
my
say,
best option.
You did a good job.
Well, thank
Here's
you.
your in the public. Kudos. You did a good job.
Yay.
I think he does the best one he's ever done yet.
I was going to say, did Scott actually give you a pat on the
I
back?
did. I got-
What is going on?
Right?
Christmas
Right?
spirit.
Did you earn a cookie?
I earned a cookie today.
Christmas spirit.
That I wanted to make sure that these folks were protecting I wanted to make sure that I was fully supportive
Yep.
of their need to protect their investment. The
Yep.
idea that
Especially when they were taking the proper steps to try to do that.
they were trying to do preventative maintenance. They knew that the Jeep that they love, that is transporting their grandchildren around,
Yep.
that's taking them to the social events.
She leapt over logs with.
She leapt over logs at a local off-roading event. They've participated with a couple clubs and social organizations in Western
And
Pennsylvania.
they started to feel something wasn't quite right with the Jeep.
And they said, before it gets worse, we want to professionally take care of it.
Yes.
And I want to be here to support that because that is ultimately one of the aspects of this brand.
And one of the things I thought was really cool is most of the time our crawlovers are first touch of you meeting the business. They have been here, 3 Jeeps ago?
Sure. Yep.
And they're like, hey, we know you do a crawlover. That's what we want you to have done. Even though we've literally worked on this Jeep before.
Yep.
It's just been
Couple years.
Couple years. Things have changed.
And
logs,
pre-leaping logs.
logs have happened.
Right.
None of that is your guys' fault. So let's just do a full crawl over, and then we'll have a snapshot of the life of the Jeep. And we're like, we will do that.
Yep.
We
And-
do have a few customers that have come back every year basically to do that crawl over, and that's a great way to just understand where your maintenance levels are.
Yeah.
Because if you desire to go to those meet and greets, to go to the Jeep shows, to go to the classic car show in your Jeep,
Yep.
if you're going to run the charitable events, whether it be a Stuff the Bus, a Toys for Tots run, a poker run to raise funds for a local individual, even one of the local clubs raise funds for Xander when your family had that unfortunate mishap. If you want to be present in those moments and you're not the mechanically inclined individual, that's where then you are prioritizing and protecting your investment of your energy in all the positive and goodness of the Jeep life by then, mechanically turning to somebody else or
Yes.
making wise choices that you're going to go ahead and we're not saying you have to come to us, but you
No.
can go to somebody and get good quality parts installed or say, hey, you know what, I need this taken care of.
And sometimes it's just a shift of an idea. I still do. I love a bargain. I love the idea of, I'll use axles as an example. When we were young, we were like, ooh, we can go get this axle out of this truck.
Yes.
And it's awesome. Instant gratification. I have this big beefy axle, cut it out of there, bring it home. And now
Put it in the corner.
I'll start to mess with it in my spare time.
Yep.
And then we realize that we didn't save any time, any effort, any of that process, because now it's rusty. It needs everything touched. It needs fully rebuilt. Or we need to change our expectations and lower them to where this axle
100%.
is. Where if we would have just, it's a little extreme, but bought the crate axle, yes, it's expensive, but it shows up, it's brand new, it's ready to go. It's got these way beefier parts than we expected to have.
Yep.
We didn't,
new technology versus 20, 30-year-old
we
technology.
didn't get into it and realize, oh, crap, this axle shaft is bad, and now that's $300, and I didn't have budget for that in this project. Maybe you got to do both to kind of learn what you need to do, but it saves you so much time to just admit, like, yes, that was a, air quotes, bargain, but it wasn't a bargain.
Right. That is 100% the concept of what we're talking about, protecting our investment, you know.
Yep.
And I love the analogy with the axle, because as a person who has junkyard tons, and we don't even really use the term junkyard anymore.
No.
But we used to. That's what we call it, used axles or an axle build, right? Kind of upchurch the conversation, the vernacular. But back in the day, we used to call it junkyard tons or junkyard axles, and a professionally would tell you that doesn't make sense. The only reason it made sense in my situation was it took 6 years to put them together.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
think of all the Jeep events you didn't get to do.
Think of all the Jeep events I didn't get to do.
Yep.
And that was not protecting my investment in the Jeep community.
No.
That was prioritizing this financial bargain over what I would have liked to have been doing with my Jeep.
And that's why we try to educate, because that wasn't the first axle build that Neil ever tried to do either.
No, arguably it was the
he
second
was a
one.
veteran of that by the time he had done those axles.
Veteran of poor decision making.
And we thought we knew what we were doing.
Right.
Until we didn't.
Oh my gosh. Isn't that true?
There comes your saying again.
Yeah, here it comes. And I just can't encourage people enough to look at aspects of and for the purpose of this podcast, of your Jeep and your off-road vehicle, your 4x4, and say, am I protecting my investment of priorities?
And part of that is asking questions before you make the decision. Just not that long ago, because it's my 6 weeks, I'm into all the JT groups, and someone asked about a specific shock, which is a great quality shock. We literally have them in the building, but they're what we've called before a race car part. So you have to do every 6 months or so some maintenance on them.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, just because of being there, this person's talking about their daily, and I was like, great product, but do you know that this needs constant maintenance? And they said, no, I did not know that. So maybe that's not the right product for them. Even though it's a high quality part, can't really go wrong. It's a unique design, all that kind of stuff. And for someone, that's not a big deal for that every 6 months maintenance. Or, hey, I noticed this is happening, so now I need to maintenance it. That's that kind of situation.
Yes.
You have to find the parts that meet you where you are in that project.
I couldn't agree more. And starts with being very realistic about your priorities.
Yep.
And then understanding how to establish boundaries and expectations of how do I stay aligned with those priorities.
Yep.
And I think that's in this season of thankfulness and appreciation, that is the piece that both mechanically and kind of on a social emotional piece is to say, how do we maintain that alignment, and I thank all the Jeepers who were able to go out this weekend and give back to the community, continue to make the broader world as a whole, both through social media and your local communities,
a better place,
with your vehicles, with your clubs, with your social entities, by giving back, by showing, a fun Christmas spirit or a fun spirit of giving and adventure in the process. That's really what this conversation is about, is protecting your investment, Well, without further ado, and this was a big, heavy conversation, one that I think definitely needs talked about. We're leading up to our last podcast. This was episode 100. And again, protecting our investment. We thank you guys so much for making this possible. Your reward is your hurting ears with the next installment of the 12 Days of Jeepmas.
There you go. Let me know when you're ready. There'll be
I'm so confused because he keeps writing it upside down.
Yeah.
Well, because you start here, but by the time you get to the 8th day, you're running down the list.
Don't try to justify it,
Jeffrey.
It makes sense to me. I know. I live in a world.
You're going to give us music
backwards.
this time around, hopefully.
Well, we verified that at an accident.
Yeah,
at the
you
beginning.
did at the beginning of it, right?
No, it won't work.
The 12th day of Jeepmas, my true love gave to me a Jeep built by Jeff J. On the 2nd day of Jeepmas, my true love gave to me 2 Jeep Waves and a Jeep built by Simpson Family Jeeps.
That's
way
much
better.
better. That's much
The
better.
3rd day of Jeepmas, my true love gave to me 3 new Jeeps, 2 Jeep Waves, and a Jeep built by Simpson Family Jeeps.
Much better.
4th day of Jeepmas, my true love gave to me. I still haven't figured that one. Transition out. 4 beadlock wheels, 3 new Jeeps, 2 Jeep Wave. Where's Scott's cue cards at in this process?
You weren't even singing. We're
On
just
the
enjoying it.
5th day of Jeepmas, my true love gave 5 golden Chiefs.
Did he just do that already?
5 golden Chiefs?
Fail.
3 new Jeeps, 2 and a Jeep built by Simpson Family
We're
Jeep.
getting a lot of Jeeps. It's like the
On the
birds are replaced by Jeeps.
The 6th day of Jeepmas, my true love gave to me 6 quarts of oil,
You need that, all those
5
Jeeps.
golden Chiefs, 4 beadlock wheels, 3 new Jeeps, 2 Jeep Waves, and a Jeep built by Simpson Family Jeeps. Did you make this music?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah,
I knew
that's
that's what
it.
that was. 7 slot decorations, 6 quarts of oil, 5 golden chiefs. What is a golden chief?
I'm assuming you're talking about a Cherokee Chief.
I'm assuming he's talking about a Cherokee chief.
You
but
need
there's
5
no
of them to build
there's
one good
a
one.
golden eagle. There's a golden eagle package, and there's an orange Cherokee chief, but there's
You should
whatever.
choose
We have a
one.
mad scientist.
8 badges of honor, 7 slot decorations, 6 quarts of oil, 5 golden chiefs.
Did you
I feel like we
build
should
one
get
out
7
of-
slot collectibles in here on 7 slot decorations. 2 Jeeps, the Jeep built by Simpson Family Jeep.
There it
is.
Woo!
Oh my goodness! If Scott doesn't have to do something next week, I am gonna be up all up in my feet.
I'm
Like
hoping that next
commentary.
week we have a couple of surprises for
Oh,
our
no.
listeners. Between the cue cards and
I better
something
be
else,
better
maybe.
by then.
Folks, I love our time together. I hope that it's beneficial to you. We want to hear from you. Know that your feedback, your input is critically valuable to the continued support and operation of this podcast. Check out our Patreon in this season if you're interested in becoming part of that. There's cool opportunities through that, and we're constantly working on developing more for those Patreons. Additionally, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend, somebody in the Jeep community, and you too can reach out directly to us. Email Jeffrey, our producer, at jeffc@sfj4x4.com, or hit us up on our text only, 440-855-2100. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know if there's some topics or content that you would like us to discuss. And I know that we're planning for the next 100 episodes some really cool things. So, stay tuned, share it with a
And
friend.
help Jeff with this Jeepness thing, because obviously he needs some ideas.
He needs a lot of ideas. Jeez, OP. Until then, folks, Jeep on.
you.